Zombies. They're almost inescapable in modern day media. These deadly creatures are everywhere, from movies to video games and books to TV shows. But what exactly is it that makes these deadly, flesh-craving creatures so popular? And where did the legends actually come from?
I actually have no idea, because I think it takes someone pretty twisted to think, oh, I've got a great idea. People come back from the dead and eat you.
Victorian times, maybe? And just people being scared of things they don't know about.
I'm not too sure, but I'd probably say somewhere like Egypt, maybe. They seem like a place that would have zombies.
It's all based in, like, facts that kind of got smudged.
I mean, zombies have been there since I was, like, little, so I've never really questioned where it's come from.
Since 1932, zombies have been ever present in the box office. White Zombie was the film that kick-started the phenomenon, which tells the story of a woman transformed into a zombie by an evil voodoo master. Others quickly followed suit, and there's been a huge number of other zombie films since then. So what exactly attracts huge audiences to the zombie subgenre? Some members from the Edinburgh Zombie Club help us explain.
My name's Scott Lyle, and I'm one of the founders of the Edinburgh Zombie Club.
I think it's become popular because it's been around for a long time, and it's always had a bit of a taboo.
I think an important fact in the sheer number of zombie films out there is they're extremely cheap to make. There's if you look at something like Night of the Living Dead, the ratio of cost to what the film made is extremely high, which is the thing that attracts producers.
I think my first zombie film was actually Night of the Living Dead, because I came to horror cinema later in life. I didn't watch it when I was wee, so by the time I came to it, I had a list of classics to watch and started with the first one.
Of like all sort of like different sort of monsters you get, like vampires and werewolves, yada yada. Zombies are the most realistic because all they are just basically dead people that have come back to get you.
I think the main reason they're successful just now is because everyone's like kind of obsessed with the whole like we've had the whole swine flu, bird flu and all that kind of rubbish going on like lately, so everyone's like well obsessed with like epidemic viral kind of stuff.
I think in recent years it's been helped along by like video games, things like Resident Evil, and maybe made things maybe a bit more mainstream, maybe a slightly younger audience that maybe would have been attracted to the films previously.
People need a scare. Essentially everything that used to be considered as quite scary is no longer considered scary, and so we have to keep evolving those things, and zombies somehow keep evolving even though they're supposed to be dead. There's
still that kind of lingering thought that you're not supposed to watch these type of films, and I think that was more prevalent about 10 years ago when the resurgence started again.
So where do zombies come from? Let's take a look. Although Haiti is known to be one of the poorest countries in America, it's no secret that it has some breathtaking beaches and a truly fascinating culture. But amongst the stunning scenery and exotic way of life are some dark secrets hidden in the island's past.
Zombie myth originates in Haiti when they would use drugs to, I believe it was to make people into kind of mindless drones for working in the plantations.
Zombies? Yes, they are my servants.
I don't think they were meant to be the dead, it was just that they looked like them, and that scared explorers who saw them.
In this context, the term zombie is used to describe a corpse that has been revived by a sorcerer and lives in a zombie-like state with no will or soul of its own.
What is it?
I see death.
It's recently been discovered by ethnobotanist Wade Davis that the zombified state was brought on by the influence of foreign chemicals found in the body. It's believed that the victim may have consumed tetrodotoxin, a toxin that comes from a common pufferfish. This substance is known to dramatically slow down the heart rate and respiration, so much so that in that time period the victims displayed clinical symptoms of death.
There are certain things you expect of a film that somebody would hand to you and say, this is a zombie film.
There's a kind of sense of menace, just a kind of body horror almost, like the kind of decaying corpses coming towards you.
Large crowds of shambolic walking dead.
I suppose it'd be either animated corpses in some, just a very loose sense, animated corpses of some description. Whether that be reanimated through like a plague or black magic or something like that. So in that sense, that would only really be, that's the only thing I'd really be I'd expect to see in a zombie film.
A lot of the time they're siege movies, so there'll be somebody or a group of people holed up somewhere fighting for survival.
The nation is being committed by creatures who feast upon the flesh of their victims.
I got introduced to Western culture in a book called Magic Island by William Seabrook in the 1930s. He was like a travel writer. And that's what initially popularised zombie in American culture and took it out of the Caribbean.
However, the reports persisted. And medical examinations of some of the victims bore out the fact that they had been partially devoured.
They started out in the 1930s as kind of very like voodoo themed, that was set in like Haiti, these kind of places. And then moving on to kind of 1950s, you had kind of like the Atomic Age or like science fiction, when you had films like Invisible Invaders, The Earth Dies Screaming, that aren't necessarily zombie films per se, but feature animated corpses, maybe controlled by like evil scientists or aliens. You can look at films like The Beyond that maybe got a Lovecraftian influence in them. There's a lot of post-apocalyptic zombie films, so I wouldn't class zombie films as a genre on their own, rather than maybe something that features in horror and science fiction films in general.
Nowadays, zombies are generally thought to have been caused by a huge incurable epidemic, much like the plot of Danny Boyle's 28 Days Later. But is this really possible?
I don't think we're heading for a zombie apocalypse as we see in the films, mostly because they involve people suddenly taking on cannibalism in the way they're shown now.
I spend most of my time thinking about the apocalypse, of all kinds, so I suppose you could end up with some kind of like viral outbreak, kind of 28 Days Later style, so yeah, I would hope so. I've spent most of my day hoping for something like that, so yeah.
I think probably what's more likely is some kind of epidemic or pandemic, it would be, that would wipe out large swathes of people at a time, and there'd be a lot of the death and destruction, but less of the wandering around chomping in arms.
I think possibly the most realistic cause would maybe some kind of genetic modification or like nanotechnology, something like that, or something that some kind of experiment that goes wrong or something along those kind of lines.
I think the most likely scenario is something that's more typical to the films. The one I would find most believable would be some kind of weaponized bacteria.
By exposing themselves to zombie-themed media, most audiences are then forced to think about survival and the lengths they'd go to keep themselves alive.
Get all my family and friends together and get to my house and destroy the staircase.
Find a bunker probably, or somewhere underground that we could layer off into different sections.
I would quite like to find a castle and hole up in the castle.
Either find a high security prison that's abandoned or a boat, like a big boat, and just live on the sea.
If you have a place that's designed to keep organised armies out, then zombies won't have a chance of getting in. I might survive, I might not, but I do my best.
My zombie survival plan just involves kicking ass and surviving.
There's always just one person that ruins it, so as long as you can single them out and kill them, then you'll be fine.
I would hole up somewhere, because even no matter how corpses are reanimated, they're going to rot sooner or later, so I would just hide somewhere.
I think most people who spend any time wandering around in a city will have identified certain buildings that they would head straight to, whether it's sort of Dawn of the Dead Mall or something a bit more out of the way, something where they can hide, and also where there's resources within easy reach.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims.
Would you survive the zombie apocalypse?